Good afternoon, everybody in attendance and online. Clock's just ticked over for the September Ordinary Council meeting. Before I declare it open, I will pass to Andre, but Marie's just stepped out of the room. When she comes back, we do have a new staff member, so we'll break into the meeting when that happens. We'll declare the meeting open and start with the acknowledgement of country. The Shire of Dardanup wishes to acknowledge that this meeting is being held on the traditional lands of the Noongar people. In doing this, we recognise and respect their continuing culture and the contribution they make to the life of this region, and pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. The Shire of Dardanup also respects and celebrates all cultures of all our residents and visitors to our Shire. The emergency procedure is to exit through the main door there, and there'll be a roll call over in the Eden Boomers car park. The affirmation of civic duty and responsibilities there for councillors and staff. Recording of meetings in accordance with section 5.23a of the Local Government Act 1995 and part 2a of the Local Government Administration Regulations of 1996. Video or audio recordings of council meetings apply to all ordinary and special council meetings of the Shire of Dardanup. All recordings will be retained as part of the Shire of Dardanup records and will be made available to the public via the Shire of Dardanup website, excluding recordings of matters that council takes behind closed doors. In attendance today, we have many people online for various reasons and permission by the President. We have councillors Janor, Hutchinson and Maloney by teams. I see we have Sean Hill watching some sound stuff over there. In the room we have councillors Davies, Elton Lilly and Councillor Webster over there, excuse me. Staff members Jolene, Cindy, Natalie, Theo, Ashwin, Susan, Andre and Sean again. And Tanya's over the back, and we have a media person. We haven't had one of them for a while. Thanks, mate. Yes, just coming along. And a very full gallery with some people from the Leonard Street Petition, Dardanup Heritage Collective and some candidates in the upcoming election. So welcome everyone that's here. Don't have any apologies at hand. We do have a leave of absence from Councillor Gillespie. The other two that are there are online. Previous meetings is there for those that wish to take note. We'll move on to 3. Response to previous public questions taken on notice. There are none. Public question time. I don't have any with me, but has anyone got any questions? Any questions? Thanks everyone. Applications for leave of absence. I do have an application from Councillor Janor from the 29th of October. Any further? Councillor Lilly, do you want to put a leave of absence in?
No, thank you.
Okay. We will move into petitions, deputations and presentations, but before I do, Andre, would you like to introduce our new staff member, please?
Councillors and staff and members of the gallery, we are very lucky to have Marie, who started as our new ESO. Jolene will not be leaving the organisation. She'll actually become the executive assistant for Natalie as our Director of Corporate and Governance. We're very happy to have Marie join us, who started this week. Marie, can I put you on the spot to just introduce yourself briefly, please?
Hello everyone, thank you for the warm welcome. I've recently moved down about 2 months ago from Fremantle, so I worked at the council there for 2.5 years, so I'm excited to get started here.
Thanks, Marie, and welcome along. And yeah, there's a couple of councillors here that you're going to have to herd, but there's potentially quite a few new ones. So yeah, the election's coming up. Okay, petitions, deputations, presentations. Jill's got a presentation for us for the Dardanup Heritage Collective. Thanks, Jill.
Does this work? No. Do I need to turn this on?
It's on now.
Should work.
Okay.
You're right.
Thank you, Mr. President, and good afternoon, councillors and staff. I'm the chairperson of the Dardanup Heritage Collective, so representing that committee today. And I'd like to speak on support of the item 12.5.3, which is the extension to user agreement at the Dardanup Shire office. The Dardanup Heritage Collective would like to acknowledge the ongoing support of the Shire in our endeavours and make the following points. The Dardanup Heritage Collective was set up to document, preserve and make available to the public the history and heritage of Dardanup and other localities in the Shire of Dardanup. At this point, we have already filed numerous documents that are waiting to be digitised and archived. We've been given or allowed to copy numerous documents and photos relating to Dardanup and localities' history. Without a place to receive these documents and photos, I'm not sure where they would have ended up, as not all family members see the importance of keeping old documents. Recently, we've been given a suitcase belonging to the Eton Progress Association from 1953 to 1974 and the Eton Hall Committee from the early 70s to the mid-1990s. And that correspondence has been filed for future archiving and digitising, and Janice, our secretary, has carried out all of that work. And she said that it's been fascinating reading numerous letters to council from residents of the new suburb of Eton asking for council to build or supply this or that. She said that, I don't know how long the suitcase has been sitting there, but she said there was a lot of moths and etc. flying out of the suitcase. A lot of the documents are quite old. So we're looking forward to archiving those documents in future as well, and I'm sure then the show will be quite interested to have a look at those. So our vision is to archive all the historical documents that are available to us, and for future research purposes for anyone in the Shire or anywhere else for that matter. And so they'll be available in a digitised format, or depending on the state of, it could be the document itself. So the office will be used to not only archive the documents, but also a place where people can come along and bring their documents to us, which will be on a regular basis and advertised in the community. Because at that stage we haven't had anywhere where people can bring things along to us and we can copy them. As you've already read in the agenda, the Dardanup Heritage Collective has hosted an annual Heritage Forum, and this year's is being held in November in the Thomas Little Hall. We envisaged that we would use the Shire space to also display some of our work to the community and any visitors to the town, so showcasing our history. Finally, I'd like to encourage all of you to have a look at our website if you haven't already done so. It contains a wealth of material, including oral history interviews, recently including the Shire President's father, who was the Shire President at one stage for quite a few years, and councillor. Recently, students from Dardanup Primary School have made a documentary on Dardanup's history, and the teacher commented that the information available to those students from our website was invaluable. Also, we recently received a grant from Harvey Water, so we've on the website there is a history of irrigation throughout the Dardanup Shire, which was very important to agriculture. And so we're at this stage, there's a new blade sign being completed, which will complement the heritage trail that's already in Dardanup, which we did a few years ago. So we're just waiting on that sign to be completed, and then that'll be erected, and we'll probably have a little opening ceremony. So that'll be of interest. The sign will be right near the Dethridge wheel that's already in Dardanup as you come into the town. So that's another project that we've carried out this year and looking forward to being completed. So finally, to this end, we support the officer's recommendation for that item. So thank you for allowing me to speak about the Dardanup Heritage Collective.
Thank you, Jill.
Any questions?
I was going to say, has anyone got any questions? Probably not a question, but just to thank you for the work you're doing in that heritage space, Jill, you and the group. It's great.
It's very, very interesting and we have some wonderful meetings because someone always brings along some little thing of interest that unearths something. So it's been a very enjoyable experience.
I've got a question. Is there opportunity, Jill, to expand that into the Burracup area as well?
Yes, we actually, Margaret Vinci, who lives Tyrrell, a bit more towards Burracup, doesn't she? More sort of Waterloo way. Anyhow, yes, we actually tried to reach out to the Burracup community to see if anyone did want to join our group. At that stage, that hasn't been taken up, but yeah, we're happy to look. As I said, we're looking at all this Eton history at the moment, so we're happy for anyone to join our group, and we're happy to take on anything. So there is quite a bit of history on Burracup that's already on the web page. So yeah, we're not limiting ourselves just to Dardanup town site, and we have, Wellington Mills, we've got an interpretive sign up there as well, and at Waterloo. So yeah, Burracup's definitely, we're happy to do anything there.
Because at last year's community advisory group that we had in Burracup, there was actually a request from some of the residents as to whether they could join the Dardanup Heritage Collective.
Yeah, well, we have invited people mainly through Margaret, but no one's actually come forward. So, if you hear of anyone, Ellen, or anyone, by all means, just put them on to us. We meet every month, so we'd be more than happy for them to join our group. Thank you.
Thanks, Ellen. Thanks, Jill. Our second presentation will be from Peter as we prepare to receive the Leonard Street Road Improvement Petition. Peter, speak.
Well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for this opportunity to express our concerns regarding the roadside, the upgrade to Eaton Drive, Hands Avenue, Cutler Street and Watson Street. Leonard Street currently has 2 homeowners who are wheelchair reliable, and they rely on the road at present to allow them to access to the Eaton Shopping Centre and the foreshore walkways. Therefore, we are calling for pedestrian footpaths to be installed on the left-hand side of the road when facing north from Cutler Street, on the left-hand side facing the river. The current roadside curbing is not sustainable for the increased traffic, as erosion will pose an issue for crossovers and water runoff. As Leonard Street does not have installed drainage, we request both sides of the road have new curbing. Traffic calming controls to be installed on Leonard Street to reduce the traffic speed to 50 kilometres an hour. And traffic calming controls will improve the road safety in our residential neighbourhood. So we're therefore calling on the Shire of Dardanup to allocate funds to improve the road in Leonard Street. Another improvement would be with the traffic control, is cars are speeding up and down there. We've seen a couple, we estimate they'd be doing 80 kilometres an hour. And a school bus went speeding through there this morning. So that's our request with the deputation to the council. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. Any councillors got any questions?
Yes, I have a question. Thank you for that, Peter. Is your preference to have the mountable curb or the box curb?
I would suggest the mountable one. And with the curbing put down, since they've raised it, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but when they resurfaced it, it raised the road about an inch, which channels water into driveways now. And mine goes in the driveway, across into the neighbour's front portion of the street, and out back onto the road again. So that is a must as far as we're all concerned. And if you have a look at the curbing in Leonard Street, a good piece is that long, and they break down, and They're just all over the place at the moment and don't really serve any purpose.
Thank you.
Any other councillors? I actually have a question for the Director of Infrastructure. Not unreasonable request, Theo, that's in line with what may need to happen there and with our changes that we've made.
Thank you.
Mr. President, no, councillors, no, it's not. Mr. Bacon, it's not an unreasonable request. I had a look at the curbing myself. So certainly some work that can go in there. We've done traffic counts there 2 years ago. It'll be good to do traffic counts now again, once the traffic has settled a little bit with the new intersections, to see what type of speeds they do, the amount of vehicles we get there. But certainly we will have a look at that and endeavour to get something back to council to be considered in the future budget, the next year's budget. But yes, 100% we'll have a look at that.
Thanks, Theo. Thanks, Peter.
Thank you.
And that leads us into the actual item. Received the petition on page 4, 6.1. Councillor Lilly to move, Councillor Davies to second. Wish to speak, Councillor Lilly?
Only to say that where residents identify issues, particularly with access to their own homes or access to facilities that they've currently had access to and that's likely to change, or it's been made difficult by roadways, pathways, I think it's important that we do accept the petition and allow our CEO to conduct some sort of investigation and bring back to council.
Councillor Lilly, Councillor Davies?
The only thing I would suggest, is just to support what Councillor Lilly said. I think it does need to be done, so let's look at it when the time comes and we can get it done.
Councillor Davies, anyone wish to speak against? Any further for? Okay, councillors, I'm happy to put that to the vote. All those in favour? Thanks everyone, thanks those online and thanks in the room. We'll move on to 7, confirmation of the minutes of the previous meeting. We do have a little bit of administrative stuff to do here. Andre, you to walk through this one, please.
Chair, I'll pass over to the Director of Corporate and Governance.
Thank you, through the chair. So there is a correction to the minutes from the 27th of August, and Jolene, if you just want to pop this up on the screen if you can, please. So at the ordinary council meeting dated the 27th of August, the agenda report item 12.2.2 local planning scheme amendment number 1 STR for initiation. The officer recommended resolution was recorded as motion lost due to an error within the report. What essentially has happened is that the voting requirements within that report was identified as absolute majority. On review of this, it has been council staff have obtained legal advice plus WALGA advice, and this decision should have actually been recorded as a simple majority. So we seek to put a correction to those minutes, and what that does entail is effectively the decision that was lost as a motion 4-2 is actually carried. So the actual, just scroll down if you can, Jolene, just to the actual resolution. As I mentioned, in effect, the resolution was actually effectively carried as a legally valid decision. The resolution A now reads that the minutes of the ordinary council meeting held on the 27th of August be confirmed as true and correct, subject to the following corrections, and those corrections being a strike through of what was previously recorded as absolute and inserting the word simple, and a strike through from motion lost to carried.
I'm happy to
Hang-
move.
I'll just get you to hold 2 seconds, just before we do move, and you can move it, but there is that, also that note that item, we did have 2 financial interests declared, but we're not dealing with, as the resolution, we're dealing with the minutes of the meeting and correcting them, so.
Oh, okay, all right, I can't.
Councillor Lilly and CEO Schoenfeld declared a financial interest in that item, so they weren't actually in the room. But the rest of us were.
So can I
President,
vote?
you're actually voting on correcting the agenda, or sorry, the minutes, so you're not actually voting on the item, therefore we can.
Yes, yeah. So So 7.1, the correction of the minutes, but we do have that correction on the page in front of us, which Luke's going to move, councillor Davies to move, I'm happy to second. Any questions on that? Everyone understands where we're at?
Sorry, Jolene, could you just put the other councillors back up on the screen so we can see them, please?
Sorry.
Councillors Janora, Hutchinson and Manoni, all across that? Any questions? Okay, we'll put that to the, and there's also resolution B as part of that item, the minutes of the special council meeting held the 17th September. That one as well, yep. Any discussion required? Everyone's happy? I'll put that to the vote. All those in favour? It's unanimous. Thanks, councillors. Announcements by presiding member without discussion. My monthly report is there. Questions on that? There's one small addition, well, not a small addition, it was a couple of days of it. We had the Walga AGM in Perth Monday to yesterday, along with councillors Janor, Lilly, Davies and Gillespie. Interesting AGM for a variety of reasons. There was some good and some underwhelming stuff in it, but as there was some other councillors there as well, I'm just going to put them on the spot and see what they got out of it. Councillor Lilly, how did you go at the AGM and the conference?
Yes, very well, thank you, President. There were three speakers that I thought I gained valuable information from. One of them was Dr. Hames. I'm not sure if everyone's aware of Dr. Hames, but he's 83 years old and he's considered to be the leader or the steward of understanding how our society is changing. And he gave a very enlightening discussion on how the future of our society is changing and how we do need to develop stewardship as a contrast to leadership. And he believes that we've lived through many years, 30 to 40 years, where we've really focused on leadership and leadership skills and how that's actually been detrimental because it very much feeds into a capitalist nature and it doesn't necessarily look at the depth of our societies. And he believed that we need to move towards a stewardship which allows all levels of academia or all levels of organisations to be involved because stewardship can be for everyone. So that was very enlightening. Secondly, Basil Zemplis spoke and we had about 5 people that welcomed us to the conference. However, Basil Zemplis was the most energetic. He had a lot of vitality and as he comes from a local government background, having served 5 years as the Lord Mayor of Perth, he has great passion about local government and he really talked about the importance of local government and how it really is a grassroots development and it allows you to be the closest to the resident, so it's the place where you can make the greatest amount of change. Obviously he's gone into state government now, but he was very passionate about local government, so I really enjoyed that. And then thirdly, there was Warwick Carter. Warwick is the Director for Economic Development for the Southwest Metro Group of Councils, and he talked about shared services amongst councils and how councils can come together, adjoining councils can come together and have a shared service over a particular item. So in his area, which looks after the Rockingham, the south of Perth rather than the southwest in this region, so the south of Perth region, but he talked about how they have shared services and got quite really good traction with government when they've come together to work on particular items that are occurring in their areas. So he was very interesting as well. Thank you.
Thanks, Ellen. Councillor Davies, how'd you go?
Yeah, it was really good. I like the idea of connecting to other people, other councillors and all that, and just talking to them about what they do for their residents and getting some ideas of what we can do. We broke into groups yesterday about like electric cars and how they are starting to do with their fleets. So they get grants from Walga. I just can't remember what, yeah. And so like Augusta Mugga River, they did like a grant and they got like their cars done for their team. Also like trucks and all that for rubbish collections. But I pretty much enjoyed like just the whole, it was really interesting, so yeah.
Thanks, Luke. Councillor Janor, putting you on the spot here a bit, mate, but you were there.
That's right. Look, I thoroughly enjoyed the discussion or the interview that was done with Glenn McGrath and the work that he's done with the McGrath Foundation and how much that contributes to people and life-changing support that McGrath Foundation offers. The other one was really interesting and thought-provoking as well, and Councillor Lilly has spoken to that, is the shared services, which is really something to think about as, staffing becomes a challenge as we move along, and just how we can get better, integration of services around local areas. And then one thing that I really picked up on and is always good to see, and then encourages you to do better, is when the councils were debating different items, it's good to see how other councillors and shire presidents and mayors carry themselves and conduct themselves and speak, and just listening to a few of the discussions that sort of makes me feel that for some of it we're on the right track, and others there's definitely areas where I can lift in the way I suppose project and present myself.
Thanks, Councillor Janor. Sean Phil, you were there too. What did you get out of it?
Thanks, Mr. President. Well, I agree with Councillor Janor. I was really taken by Glenn McGrath's presentation yesterday morning for the Icons Breakfast. He mentioned there was 4 things that he held true to during his career, and that was self-belief, high work ethic, always looking to improve, and enjoying himself and having fun and having a lot of passion in what he was doing. And he said through all of that, he said, only you can put pressure on yourself, don't let anyone else put any pressure on you. Focus on your preparation and the process of getting done what is expected, and then the outcome will be determined by how much preparation you've put into that and the process and how good you execute the process. So that was quite good, and I think that's quite relevant to us as well in local government. The amount of preparation we put into the work that we do and the decisions that we present to council often determines whether or not it's a good decision or whether or not there's more work to be done. So, and there's nothing wrong with councillors saying, hang on, we don't think you've done all the work, let's defer it, and we do that work to make sure that there's better decisions being made. So that was quite good. I did get the chance to get a photo from him as well, which I was very enjoyed. And the other one, speaking of sport icons, we also had Adam Goods closing it out. And he did say about the opportunities that he took in his life and how it gave him things and opportunities that he never thought he would have. But he also said something that was similar to Glenn McGrath about the fun and the passion about it, and worried about elite sportsmen in this time of life, the level of effort that they have to do to it, and whether or not they asked him if he would wish his kids to be elite athletes, and he actually said no. He'd prefer they just enjoy the sport rather than having to go through it. And sort of that question of perfectionism that we are putting on ourselves and on people. So that was quite interesting, and I enjoyed that as well. The shared services was certainly something that I focused on as well. I've already reached out to Warwick to see if we can get some learnings from the work that they do at the Perth Southwest Metropolitan Group, or whatever they call these days. That was quite interesting from that space. And it was interesting that the Shire of Murray in the economic development session had bought a pub and renovated the pub. I was wondering whether or not that would come to the Shire of Dartmouth at some stage.
Not likely. I couldn't have an office in a pub, it would be not good. And look, yeah, I've been to a few of these conferences, and it's good to come away from some and we've heard Andre and Tony mention Glenn McGrath. It's some people, yes, you can really hang on to some of the stuff they tell you. So the theme for the conference was lead into legacy, and I would struggle to find anyone in sports in Australia that's left a bit of legacy with his family and what they've been through and what they're delivering now. So, and also on the Monday, I had the opportunity with a heads of agencies roundtable. Andre was there as well. I was able to have a session with the chair of the Waste Authority. FOGO is the topic of the month for us, and hopefully we'll get some traction there. So that was the Wagga AGM. So thanks for those that attended. Moving on, part 9, announcements of matters for which the meeting may be closed. We do have the Pratt Road footbridge renewal in there, but that has been withdrawn, so we don't have to have that. Questions by members of which you notice has been given, there are none. Declarations of interest, I have an impartiality interest from Director of Development Services, Mr. Nair, Ashwin Nair, in item 12.4.1, the Carrick Park upgrade and iron filtration unit, due to his friend being the previous CEO of the Fremantle Foundation. Councillor Gillespie declared approximate interest in the 12.5.2 Eton Bowling Club item back at the agenda briefing. So that's in the declarations of interest. I've declared an impartiality interest in item 12.5.2 Eton Bowling Club request to move the palm trees. I'm the patron of the bowling club, so I'll be staying in the room at the time. Councillor Lilly's declared a financial interest in a late item we have, the notice of motion of revocation to do with the STRA policy. Councillor Lilly has a STRA in the Shire of Dardanup, and Mr. Schonfeld has also declared a financial interest in the same item, as he has a STRA. So he has a financial interest. Any more declarations of interest? Okay, we'll move on. With your indulgence, Mr. CEO, we've done Leonard Road, we might do the Heritage Collective straight up, please. Sorry, Colleen. You can show Marie that I'm a bit of a wild card sometimes. So we'll move forward into the agenda to item 12.5.3 on page 35, the Dardanup Heritage Collective Extension to User Agreement. Resolution's there on page 35. Happy to move that as it stands, as the officer's recommendation is. Councillor Webster seconding. Look, just briefly, yep, it's a great use of the Dardanup office. We've heard from the Heritage Collective, they're happy with that. So they're happy, we're happy. And it'll sort of get some more action in that building in a big way. Councillor Webster, you wish to speak?
No, just that it's fantastic. We've got so many local people that are interested, and we should support them all the way, because it won't be long and there won't be those people around, and the next generation may not do as good a job as collecting all that history and keeping it for the future.
Councillor Webster. Councillor Janor, you've got your hand up. Do you have a question or you debate sort of thing?
Can't hear you.
Oh, sorry, Councillor Janor, you've got your hand up. Is it a question or debate?
If I could just ask a question. Point 2, authorises the unbudgeted expenditure for up to $100,000. Are we, that being unbudgeted, are we better off waiting to put that into the next budget, or we've got provisions for that to go ahead with the modifications?
Thanks, Councillor Janor. Nat?
Thank you, through the chair. There is provisions within the building maintenance reserve to be able to accommodate this budget amendment. What will occur is, if it is passed through the mid-year budget review process, that those reserves will be updated accordingly. That will also carry forward with our quarterly forecast reporting workshops that we do with staff as well. And if I can just add, through the chair, the voting requirement for this report is an absolute majority, as it does entail a budget amendment.
Thanks. No, absolute. Yep, go for it. Councillor Lilly.
I've also got a question of our Director of Finance. In regards to the unbudgeted 100,000, were there other funds already allocated to the Shire office in Dardanup in the budget?
Through the chair, I might be able to help. Yes, there were, but it's mainly maintenance, not a capital upgrade as was proposed here.
Anyone wish to speak against? Any further for? Hutch? Yes. Turn your mic on, Hutch.
Councillor Hutchinson, you need to turn your microphone on, please, we can't hear you.
You can hear me now?
Yep.
You guys were dropping in and out a little bit.
Okay, we can hear you now.
Authorise unbudgeted expenditure up to $100,000. So what controls have we got in place to make sure that it doesn't exceed $100,000? Like, has anyone overseen the project? I mean, if we could get it done for 50,000, that'd be better, but I mean, what controls are we putting with, or monitoring the situation to make sure that it doesn't go over $100,000?
Through the chair, the unbudgeted expenditure of up to 100,000, that would be part of our procurement process. So when the officers go out and receive those quotes, if the report did come back in excess, it is likely that another report would likely come back to council, but all in, it should be within that budget provision of 100,000 up to.
Through the chair, I can maybe just add to that. Officers have already looked at what the costs are likely going to be for this, and it should be under $100,000. However, when you start touching an older building, there's sometimes other things that pop up, and therefore we've tried to build some contingencies into that $100,000. If there is an indication that it will go over, it's something that we will bring back to council and have that conversation at that point in time. But we believe we should be able to get the project done within $100,000.
Thank you.
Thanks, Hutch. Any more questions? Debate? And I'll just close quickly on on the dollar things. We've tried to get grants to get some work done out there, and we're just not being successful, so we're going to need to actually do it ourselves and start the ball rolling. It's not a massive project. There is some money in there in the reserve to enable it to happen, and we'll hopefully we will keep applying for grants and try to make something happen. With that, I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? It's unanimous. Thank you, councillors. Okay, we'll now go back to .3 and 12 reports of officers and committees. 12.1, there's nothing executive. 12.2, development services, none. 12.3, community and economic development directorate. 12.3.1 on page 10, the auspice of the state election commitment funding on behalf of the Lions Club of Dardanup.
I'm happy to move.
Councillor Lily's moving. Councillor Davies seconding. Any discussion required? Councillors, put that to the vote. All those in favour? It's unanimous. Thanks, councillors. To 12.4.1, infrastructure directorate report, the Carrick Park upgrade and iron filtration unit funding. Director of Development Services Ashman Naz declared an impartiality interest in this item, as his friend was the CEO of the Fremantle Foundation. The resolution's on pages 14 and 15 there, councillors. I'm happy to move that. For a seconder. Councillor Davies. Yep, it's to deal with the funding to Millbridge used the Fremantle Foundation to channel those funds to us, and we'll try to get some better water out there.
I just have one question.
Yep.
Just in regards to the unbudgeted funding again, so is that again going to come out of reserves for parks and gardens?
Through the chair, so the report presented, there's a total of just under 65,000 being funded from the Parks and Reserves Upgrades Reserve. So the reserve actually can accommodate that with the current forecast closing balance of this financial year.
And is that funding to ensure that we get 120?
President, Councillor, so we've already got funding in the budget. We need to add $20,000 more to be able to deliver the whole project as council adopted the concept plan, or we can scale down the concept plan slightly by plant lesser trees, having a smaller irrigated area, but we believe it's much better value for money to do the whole project and deliver. It needs $20,000 more.
Thank you.
Councillor General, question?
Yeah, I do have a question, and forgive me if I've read a portion of this incorrectly, but, so we are, taking over the bore prior to a replacement that's required. Why are we accepting it in a condition that's not, why are we accepting if it's not going to be in good condition at the time of replacement, and then we're going to have to replace it? Why would we do that?
Dear Mr. President, councillors, Councillor General, it'll be one transaction. We will get the funding from them and then we'll replace the bore. They actually can walk away and say, right, we don't need to do anything more. But they are happy to contribute 80,000 towards the bore. So we'll get the 80,000, we'll replace the bore and we'll take it over. Eventually we need the bore to irrigate our own areas. So it's a very good outcome for the Shire.
So just to follow on from that, they've met all their subdivision conditions and it's a bit of a bonus.
Yes, interesting, there was no agreement whatsoever that they will hand it over in a good condition or they will replace it or they will, and they've come out and said, well, we will use this foundation and we'll provide the funding to install the bore. So they can actually walk away if they wanted to, but they do the right thing and they'll provide the funding to do the new bore.
Thanks, Theo. Councillor Davies, you seconded this one. Did you wish to debate?
No, I think you've said everything, let's just get on with it.
Thanks, Luke. Anyone against? You further for? Councillor Hutch, wish to speak? Turn your microphone on, please.
Yes, I do. The only issue I have is that we only just signed on the dotted line last month, the budget. We're into the following month and we're going to blow it out by $20,000 before we even start. We haven't even started the year yet, the financial year, so I believe option B was a better option for the residents and the ratepayers of the whole Shire.
With the smaller scope. What you're saying?
That's correct. Yeah, the option B on page 17.
Thanks, Councillor Hutchinson. Any further for? Okay, yeah, look, in closing, it might feel a little bit better, a little bit cheaper, Councillor Hutchinson, but we have managed to cobble together a couple of grants there and Wellbridge have traditionally left the place in a pretty good spot. Wouldn't like to risk them not giving us anything. If we can get that extra little bit to make it a good project, that oval out there, it's quite well developed out around Carrick Park and does need that level of finish that the parks in the urban areas desire. So with that, I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? Against? 6-1. Carried 6-1. We'll move through to Corporate and Governance Directorate Report. 12.5.1, the commercial lease space at the Library Administration and Community Building, 1 Council Drive, Eaton, on page 25. I'll move again. So what else wants to?
I'll have to second.
Councillor Lilly seconding. I'm going to reserve my right to debate. You would speak?
Oh, no, there's no need to, well, I will speak. The cafe space, we've been discussing for 2 years and we've made several attempts to get somebody in there and we've now secured someone. I think that we need to work towards the partial fit out to allow them to commence their services and complete the area of the library and the cafe.
Thanks, Councillor Lilly. Anyone against? Okay, I'm happy to close debate, put it to the vote. All those in favour? Unanimous. Thanks, councillors. 12.5.2, on page 31, the Eaton Bowling and Social Club request to remove 4 palm trees from lot 510 Pratt Road. Councillor Webster.
Yes, I'd just like to make an amendment to the second part of this, resolution. That I think it's been the understanding of the bowling club and having represented, the Shire on the, committees of the joint, that, that we were going to be responsible for the costs of removal of those trees because they were part of they're now causing a risk and a danger because of the new work that's been done for the pull-in bay and for the seniors walking across the road in that area. So I would like, we still are the owners of the building and they're just leasing it from us, and I understand it says,
Let's get you to hold up. You're amending part 2?
yes,
Can you give us your wording and then you can
well, I
follow?
just request that the Shire be responsible for the removals of the tree as part of the completion of the whole project.
You're right to change that. John Wayne, please.
Yeah, she wants the short.
Councillor Manoni, you've got a question?
Yeah, is it possible to ask the appropriate staff member roughly what that may cost the Shire? Obviously, there might not be quotes yet, but what would we sort of be looking at there if we were to fund this and agree on it?
Okay, we probably will get to that. Have we got a seconder for that?
Probably wanting to know.
Okay, what affected, yeah, that. Who would like to give us some costings on that? Theo, please.
Mr. President, councillors, I can answer that. Andre is here as well, if he, please correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, we got quotes previously and I think the price was something like $600 for one tree, but then it was $7,000 for all the trees. Times have moved on, so it might be a bit more expensive. I would guess in the order of about $2,000 to $3,000 these days.
Per tree.
No, for the whole lot. Andre, I don't know if you've had a bit of a look at escalation of costs and so forth.
Thank you, Theo. Through the chair, I did have a bit of a look with all the works that's happened there. There would be some traffic management needed to have the trees removed, and based on our current contracted rates, it would be about $2,500 just for the traffic management. Back in 2022, I believe the previous quotes were received, and that was about $600 a tree. Prices did indeed change, and I spoke to the Supervisor of Parks and Environment this morning about it, and he reckons we can budget easy $1,000 per tree just due to the proximity of the new works, because the tree will need to be logged to ground level and then ground out the stumps, so it doesn't disturb the footings of the newly constructed retaining wall. So yeah, we're looking at $28,000 give or take to remove all the trees. Obviously, I can take this on notice and just go and get proper quotes for it and get back to council, but that's just a rough estimate. That was just based on current industry pricing.
So can I just ask a question? Was that 28,000 or 2,800?
28,000.
That's for all the trees, not just for 4.
That's for all the trees, yep, sorry,
Four
that's for all
trees.
26 trees, yeah, that's for all 26 trees.
No, we're only talking.
So for 4 trees, it will be $4,000 plus traffic management.
Yeah, so then it'll be close to $7,000 for the 4 trees.
Thank you.
Excellent. And look, I did fail to declare the impartiality interest at the start of this item, which I'm doing now. Okay, so.
I have another question.
Yep.
In regards to the cost of these trees, so let's say it's 7,000, let's say it's 10,000 because everything seems to jump out. What do we have in our budget for parks or pathways? Where will this actually come from?
Through Mr. President, Councillor, yeah, it'll come out of our parks maintenance fund. It'll just come out of there. It's maintenance, it's not a capital job. It's like when we prune trees and branches and so.
Thanks, Theo. So we've had some questions asked and answered. We've got an amended motion being moved.
I've got another question. So if we were to accept that the council or the Shire pay for these trees, the removal of the trees, how is that going to impact on the parks budget? And are other parks or other areas going to be disadvantaged by this $10,000?
Through the chair, so it's not currently within the budget provisions for the maintenance budget, so it's potentially could exceed the budget by given $7,000 if that's what council decides. So it could potentially have an impact to the budget as part of this decision.
Thank you.
Okay, we're still looking for a seconder, or the motion will lapse.
I've got a question.
Another question, go.
Councillor Webster. Is there an opportunity that it could go 1-for-1 between the Eton Bowling Club and Social Club and the council? And I'm asking that question because the Eton Bowling Club and Social Club have a lot of opportunity to raise funds in the way that they run their business. So they have a bar and they have a TAB and they have a restaurant which they actively operate as a hospitality service to the outside world as well as their own. So is there room for some contribution from the Eton Bowling Club?
I'd say there might be a possibility of a small contribution for it, but they weren't preparing for any costs in relation to the, it was just for them completing the building to have that access in it, because there was no access at all on the flat for any vehicles to pull up or anyone to be dropped off who had the need for a flat surface, and so those 4 trees now compose a risk to falling on the patrons, which that we would be liable for since we're the owners of the building. So I just think it's in our best interest that we just cover ourselves for that potential. Now that area's been built underneath those 4 palm trees. But yeah, I guess it could be put to them, but I just think we should just sort it and then everybody's safe and covered and happy.
Mr. President, I just want to make a correction because I'm concerned that about the statement that Councillor Webster made. The liability wouldn't sit with the council. The tree maintenance and looking after the trees is actually written into the lease agreement. So it is actually on the bowling club and senior citizens to make sure that they keep that area walkable and free of any debris that may cause any issues. So we will not accept any liability for anything that may happen around that, and that's why the officer's recommendation was what it was. I just want to make that clear so that it's not perceived that we would accept any liability on something that we're not responsible for managing.
So you're saying when we designed that area which had to be approved by council because it's around their building for that new runoff, and there was no concern for the safety of the trees in the design of the actual project we did. Obviously now it's fantastic having the pull-in area and it's much safer for the people across the roads. And so the trees were never a consideration of the design of making it completely safe and usable without any need for anyone to have any concern, whether it's the Bowling Club or the Shire that owns the building.
Through the chair, we still maintain that if they maintain the trees properly and maintain the grounds properly, there would not be a concern, no.
Councillor Webster, would you consider an amendment to your proposal that we, and I haven't come to a figure, but if we say an amount that the council will contribute a maximum of, and it's then their job to finish it? Rather than leaving it, going out and getting quotes and we just don't know, it's just still too rubbery. If we were to say, we'll say $3,000, if we contribute $3,000 towards it, would you consider that in your motion?
There was a Steadfast quote for the actual price of the reality of the removals, because as you say, things keep going up, so like one day to the next. So whatever the contribution for us, and we say it was $1,000 a tree, and there's 4 of them, and we contributed over half of the amount to it. I'm sure they may think about that. I think they were just a bit upset that for quite a while they've been trying to, with correspondence and such back and forth, and get that issue sorted. So they didn't seem to have an expectation that they would be having to do that, because a lot of the Bowling Club or the seniors, they're very elderly. They're not likely to, it's a very difficult thing for them to maintain trees like that. I think that's why they initially asked for a lot of them to be gone, which didn't seem to be, something that they could achieve. So they just wanted to make this particular area safe, because it's a, back and forth area, pull-up area. But yeah, there's no harm to go back to them and ask them and have that amended to put that as a request.
Well,
No one wants to see it.
we've got an item here that we need to deal with today. We either defer it to go and get some quotes and find out what it is gonna cost, or we can make a contribution without having an open cheque being written out.
Is there anyone that seconded the motion, or that's finished, we're now moving on to yours?
No, there's you have a motion, you've moved a motion that the removal of the trees will be the responsibility of the council and at the council's cost.
Nobody seconded
I'm
that?
suggesting that I would be prepared to second a motion that puts a finite figure on that contribution of say $3,000.
So is there any reason, what would be the reason to objecting to paying for the full amount? If I'm allowed to ask that.
Don't give out open cheques.
It's not over. Okay, well,
And that's what I'm comfortable with.
okay,
Okay, if you want more, I'll withdraw my second and the amendment.
yeah, so. Alright, well, we have to go with that, we can at least negotiate that they're gonna accept that.
If there's another councillor happy to do more.
Yeah,
So you're happy to move that?
yes, right,
That acknowledge the removal of the trees will be the responsibility of the Eton Bowling Club at a maximum contribution from the Shire of $3,000.
Mr. President, can I just clarify? The reason why this item's been brought to you and why the officers are recommending it is because some of the maintenance on this area hasn't been undertaken to the level that it doesn't cause a risk. If the maintenance is being undertaken to that level, there wouldn't be that risk, and that's what we maintain. But unfortunately, the club's not necessarily been able to maintain the trees in the area around that, and that's why we're recommending these four to get removed. So I just wanted to clarify what Councillor Webster asked me, is there no concern for risk? Yes, there is, but only because the maintenance hasn't been kept up to the level that it should be kept up to.
Thanks, Andre. Well, we do have a resolution there, mover and a seconder. Councillor Webster, you wish to speak?
no, that's all right, I think I've covered things.
Well, I'll just speak briefly. There is probably that concern that Councillor Webster's raised, that the bowling club's feeling a bit that we were going to do it and we were expecting them to do it. This is a contribution, a maximum contribution of. I think they're still going to have to fund part of it or organise some traffic control or the grinding or something. So, yeah, I'm comfortable with any bit of help. Anyone against? Councillor Janor?
Councillor Janot, we can't quite hear you. Do you mind just checking your microphone, please? We still can't hear you. Councillor Hutchinson, can we check if you can? No, we've lost you too. You just give us a second, please. Can you still hear us?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, that's good.
So it's just coming back this way.
Can you try again, Councillor Janot, please?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Okay, we can hear you, but not through the audio in the room, just through the computer at the moment. Just a second. You try again, please, Councillor Jannon.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Okay, the reason I'm going against this one is if it's in the agreement there to look after the trees and the maintenance of the trees, then that's what they should do, including the cleaning up of the berries that regularly drop and scatter across the walkway. That can be cleaned up under their responsibility. Now, if it is an ongoing concern, then there would be opportunity for them to apply for a grant, I suppose, to have them removed, or put it forward as a budgeted expense in the next round of budget applications. So for that, I'll be going against it.
Councillor, thank you, Councillor Janor. Any more? Any further against? Councillor Webster, you wish to close?
Only that, I do feel that because of the age of the people that use the facility, and that's a fantastic facility for them, there's not a lot that gets done with the seniors in, even they don't, so helping them out, most of them are volunteers that do keep the area clean. It's not like they've got greenkeepers anymore. So if you don't have that, they don't have that capacity like they used to maintain gardens and obviously the those trees were there before the building was ever built. So I just feel it doesn't hurt now and then to help our seniors out.
Thanks, Councillor Webster. That I'll put it to the vote, councillors. All those in favour? And against? 3, 4. It's my count, isn't it? 1, 2, 3. No. Should have been 4.
4-3. I agree with Councillor Levy, Councillor Davies and Councillor
There's someone in the room. Luke, sorry, Luke.
Knoll voting against.
Take up. This is simple.
Carried simple. Because it's existing budget expenditures.
Come out of the maintenance budget. Okay, councillors, that's been moved with the amendment. 12.5.3 we've dealt with.
Mr. President,
Yes, Hutch.
just on that last item, can I just ask it one question?
Can? You can, yes?
Our CEO stated that the trees haven't been kept to the desired standard or whatever. So who determines that? Is that like somebody does a drive-by one day and says, oh, they're looking a bit agricultural, we might have to attend to it, or, so how does, if I'm on the board down at the bowling club for whatever reason, who determines what those trees should look like? My own personal opinion, and they certainly don't speak for everyone else, but I reckon they're about on the same par as feral cats. They should be banned off the joint. And I'm doing my best around the farm here to clean a few of them up because they're just rubbish. So, but where I'm coming from, who sets the standard and who's responsible for it? And it's just a question. You don't have to answer it now. You can get back to me later on, whatever you like.
Through the chair, maybe to answer briefly, the lease actually requires them to maintain all the trees and the grounds. So the concerns that they're raising is basically that there's palm fronds dropping and other berries dropping. So the maintenance of that is their responsibility. And that's what I was referring to, saying that if it's not kept to the standard on the floor, or if they're not pruning back any of the prongs before they actually fall, then that's their responsibility, not the Shire of Dartmouth's responsibility, because it's within their lease area. So it's up to them to decide what's standard, but then they accept the liability associated with that. It doesn't get passed on to the Shire, and that's the point I wanted to get across. So we didn't have a concern with the works that we did in there, because as long as you sweep the pathway regularly and you make sure that the maintenance is done, there shouldn't be a liability issue. What the clubs have raised is that it's not being done to that level, and therefore it's creating that concern, and that's why officers recommended that the 4 trees can go. Because you would recall previously officers recommended that we do not support the 28 trees to go, but in this instance the officers did recommend the 4 trees to go. So it was just a matter of just clarifying the liability. The maintenance isn't the Shire's responsibility, and therefore we won't take the liability associated with it.
Thanks, Hutch. Thanks, Andre. Moving on, 12.5.4, the monthly statement of financial activity for the period ended 31st of August 2025 on page 44. Resolution's there halfway down the page. Councillor Davies moving. I'll second it. Any discussion required? Put it to the vote. All those in favour? Unanimous. Thanks, councillors. 4.5.5, the schedule of paid accounts as at the 31st of August. Questions were asked at the agenda forum, they've all been answered. Thanks, Nat, and your team. Resolution's on page 49. I'm happy to move that. Councillor Lilly seconding. Any discussion required? Put it to the vote. All those in favour? That's everyone, thank you. Okay, we are now 12.6, committees. The Audit and Risk Committee meeting held on the 17th of September 2025, page 80. Don't see anything sticky there. Happy?
No, absolute majority, Mr. President, you can move them on the block.
I'm happy to move them on. Councillor Louis moving them on block. Councillor Webster seconding. Any discussion required? Is that to the vote? All those in favour? That's everyone. Thanks, councillors. 13, elected member motions of which there is none. 14, new business of an urgent nature introduced by decision of the meeting. There is one there. We do have a notice of motion to revoke. We do need to move a motion. I'm happy to move a motion that we...
Mr. President, before you do that,
Okay.
both Councillor Lilly and I have declared financial
You
interest
have.
on that, so we will leave the room for that.
Thank you for reminding me.
Director Hopkins will be taking the CEO's position in this stage.
Councillor Lilly and CEO have left the room. Okay, councillors, we've got new business of an urgent nature in front of us. We do need to have a motion to receive that notice of the notice of motion to receive the report. Happy to move that. Seconder, Councillor Davies. Is any discussion required on that? Okay, I'll put that to the vote. All those in favour? That's unanimous, thank you. Okay, through electronic means and white paper, we do have the notice of motion revoking resolution signed by myself, Councillor Davies and Councillor Webster to revoke the motion that we made at the 27th of August meeting, that council defer this item 12.2.2 local planning scheme amendment number 1, STRA, for further investigation and clarity, and bring the item back to the ordinary council meeting. As the decision made prior to that only required a simple majority and attained that simple majority, this motion became the motion that we're dealing with now to revoke became unnecessary. So everyone's across that. I'm happy to move that. I signed it first. Councillor Davies, you signed it second. You're happy to second it? Is there any questions on this item? Everyone's understanding and happy? All good, we'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? 6, that's unanimous, and require an absolute majority, which we've got with everyone. Thank you, councillors. Theo, you can bring them back in, please. Ellen and Andre, that item to revoke that resolution from the previous meeting was passed unanimously. It's dealt with. We'll move on, public question time. Any public questions? Well, I'm not talking so much, it's a good question. Okay, the matters behind closed doors we don't need, but before I do close the meeting, this is the last OCM of this election, of this cycle. We won't be meeting in this format. We do have a couple of people that are definitely gone. There's a few more of us that could be gone. Ellen has been the Deputy President for the last 2 years and hasn't re-nominated. Ellen, thank you for your time. We don't always agree, but I know you're always invested in what you've done on council. Probably some concern you're still going to be watching, but thank you for your time and good luck for your future endeavours. Would you like to have anything to say?
Yes, I would like to have something to say. Firstly, being the Deputy President to Tyrrell has been a very easy task. We don't always agree, but in good faith, we are both here for the Shire of Dardanup and most importantly for the residents. And that is one of the very great things about being able to work with Tyrrell in this role is that the residents and the long-term sustainability of our Shire is very much the motive. In regards to the rest of the council, I've thoroughly enjoyed all of the people that have worked within the council. And again, we don't always agree, but that's great because we have quite a diverse council in the fact that we've got a great mix of gender, we've got a great mix of ages, and certainly a great mix of different life experiences. And that is a great representation of the fabric of our community. We do have a very varied community in the fact that we've got urban and rural and everything in between. I believe that the greatest success of the Shire of Dardanup really comes to our stewardship of our directors and our CEO. We are very lucky in the Shire of Dardanup to have very well educated, qualified directors and CEO who always put us on the right path. Even though, again, we do disagree and we will amend their recommendations, we challenge their recommendations, we question where they're spending the money or where they recommend to spend the money. But I believe overall the Shire of Dardanup is very lucky to have the stewardship that we have. All the supporting staff in the Shire are fantastic and certainly I believe that we've got some very passionate staff that certainly put the Shire in the best place. I will be back. The reason why I've not re-nominated is because my husband and I sold a business 2 years ago and I committed to him that we would travel. And travelling and being on council, particularly in the role of deputy, doesn't quite mix all the time. So we're going to have this next 2 years where we can get a whole lot of our travelling done. And I'm sure I'll be back because I'm very passionate about community. I'm very passionate about the development of our community and maintaining who we are as a Shire because that is very important. Clearly my passion is Dardanup because that's where I live. I live in Crooked Brook and I will continue to focus on the issues of the landfill. I will be returning to the gallery and I'll be following council very closely. So will I return? Yes. When? I'm not sure. But I'd just like to say thank you to you all. You're all great people to be with and I've had many a great conversation, challenging or not challenging, and I think that's what improves the way we think and it improves the way that we care for our community, because we have so many people who cannot speak up, and we are that voice. And I encourage you all, new candidates, if you are to be elected, that you have the courage to speak up. Just because you have a difference of opinion doesn't mean you don't speak up. It's important to speak, because we are representing a lot of people, and a lot of people don't have a voice. So I'd just like to say thank you, and I wish you all the best, and yes, you can just keep a little seat over there for me, would be great. Thank you.
We'll come back as Councillor MacArthur. Okay, and we've got another couple of councillors, including myself, three of us that are standing again. We don't know whether we're back. Councillor Davies and Webster, would either of you like to say any words?
No.
Okay. Councillor Webster? And, oh, sorry, yeah, Jack. You go, Annette, yeah. Yep, you go.
Yeah, I'd just like to say,
No, thanks, I think.
You hold up, Jack. I'll just get Annette to have a quick word, because I've got a bit extra for you too.
yeah, I just want to say I've only been on for a 2-year term, been successful in the last elections. So I really like the opportunity. Now I'm just starting to learn and get the idea of who the staff are. Some have come and gone in the 2 years. It's been a very hectic 2 years. And also some of our studies that we've had to do, they were they're things that we had to learn about, so we learned about the rules and regulations, what we can and can't do. And even though those have changed halfway through the 2 years to now a whole lot of new ones we have to learn. So it's been really exciting, and I've been really proud to be able to represent the community I've lived in ever since I felt like the only person that was fishing down the river. Thank you.
Thanks, Annette. Jack, thanks for making the effort to zoom in while you're on the other side of the country, and thank you for your time. Anything you'd like to say?
I think Alan covered it really, really well, but yeah, just wanted to say thanks for all the staff and Andre in particular and all your guidance along the way. It's been a fantastic 2-year experience, and same thing, I think I'll be back eventually. But yeah, different kind of life for me with, hopefully family around the corner, so just needing to align my priorities with us for the moment. But yeah, really thanks to everyone that I've dealt with over the last years. It's been a fantastic experience, and yeah, good luck to all the councillors re-nominating and the people in the gallery that are going to put their hand up again. So good on you for putting your hand up. I think a lot of people, don't do it. So good on you for doing it, and all the best in the elections.
Thanks, Jack, and also, Jack, to the councillors and community and staff that are here. Jack's grandmother passed away last night. Faye's been a stalwart of the community for as long as I can remember, and just one of those ripper people that have just been great to have around, that have been part of the fabric of the Waterloo area and the Greater Dardanup Shire. So yeah, commiserations to your family, Jack, and yeah, thanks, and thank you for your time. Yeah, we'll see you back.
Cheers.
And look, before I go, I've had 2 years as Shire President working with Andre and his team. Enjoyed it. We've got a few things on the boil. Hopefully the next council, whoever's on it, can continue with those things. Been lucky enough to have my whole life in this Shire and just love the place. So if you can keep the work up, whoever's here, good luck. And that's probably enough from me. Andre.
Sorry,
Everyone else is speaking, so I better. I want to say thank you. With 14 years, I didn't think I'd be here this long. I'm trying not to. I'm holding back. I've really loved. Sorry. I've just really enjoyed everyone. All the challenges we've had. So hopefully, whether I'm back here or not, I've enjoyed my time. You've probably seen me around. And to the new candidates that are running, good luck. Whatever will be. And just be there for everyone, really. Thanks for you guys, Andre and Tyrrell, and everyone, council and staff. Thank you guys.
Thank you, Luke. Andre.
Brief, Mr. President. Just wanted to say thank you for the kind words by all the councillors. Thank you for your support, your guidance and your input. I think it was very well summed up in that it's the diversity of the council that actually gives us that opportunity to hear from the different learned and lived experiences. And thank you for putting your faith in myself and also our directors and the rest of the staff for the work that we've done. Wish everybody all the best in the future, and it's been an honour to work with all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks, Andre. Thanks for everyone that's tuned in and here in the gallery and around the table. I declare the meeting closed.
Thank you, councillors. Thank you, staff. Thanks to the gallery.
Thanks everyone, good night all.
Thanks, Hutch.